Thank you so much for taking part in this digital drop-in with Google and Parent Zone. My name's Chelsea, and we've also got our online safety expert Cal in the chat box too. Now, we'd love for you to share your name and where you're tuning in from this evening, so please do introduce yourselves in the chat box. Don't be shy. Now, Cal and I are part of a team in charge of Be Internet Legends, a programme designed by Google and Parent Zone to help families become savvier, safer, and more confident online. Over the last few weeks, we've been asking parents and carers what they'd like us to cover in these digital drop-ins, and sharing carefully was one of the top answers. So that is what we're going to be talking about today. Now, this drop-in is one of several we've been doing, and we've been doing sessions such as cyberbullying and protecting personal information. And we're always really interested to hear what kind of topics you'd like us to cover. So if you've got any suggestions for our future digital drop-ins, please pop your requests in the chat box. Now, the plan for this session is to talk about how we can teach children to share carefully on the internet. Now, whether you're going into work or not, or your kids are in school, we're using tech a bit more at the moment to share things with people who we can't see in person. So what we're going to chat about is how we help children to decide what information should stay private and what to share with different audiences. Develop sharp sharing habits whenever they go online. Now, this includes only sharing what they want other people to see. And we'll talk a little bit more about what it means to be sharp in a moment. And finally, managing their digital footprint throughout their lives. This includes understanding that it might be visible to others when they get older. Now, we want the next 15 minutes to be as useful and as practical as we can make them. And we know that some of the best ideas are going to come from you, sharing your tips and thoughts parent to parent. So please do pop your top tips or advice in the chat box. And if you do have any questions, pop them in there too. Now, there is no such thing as a bad question. Cal's waiting in the chat box, and I'll keep glancing down there as well. Now, before we move on, I just want to check that everybody can see me okay. Now, if I do look a little bit blurry, I recommend refreshing the page on your phone or tablet or computer, or you can adjust the settings by clicking on the little cog in the bottom right and selecting quality. And don't worry about missing stuff, because you can always watch this back later. And if you wanted to, you could share the link with your friends so that they can watch it too. As I said, Callum and I are part of a team that's been teaching an internet safety programme called Be Internet Legends in schools across the UK for about 4 years now. And some of you might have heard about it from your children, or maybe you've attended another one of our digital drop-ins. We deliver really fun interactive assemblies like this, and then teachers follow up in the classroom with lessons that are part of a full curriculum. And throughout the pandemic, we've been supporting schools and families from afar using the power of tech. Be Internet Legends teaches children 5 really important safety pillars, a mixture of skills and behaviours that cover the most important things to remember whenever they go online. Now, this includes being sharp, being alert, being secure, being kind, and being brave. Now, if you wanted to find out more about the 5 pillars, check out Google's parent page, and Cal's going to pop a link for that in the chat box as I speak. Sharing carefully is covered in the Be Internet Sharp pillar. So that's what we're going to be concentrating on for the next 10 to 15 minutes. Be Internet Sharp is all about helping children to think about what they say, post, and do on social media, messaging apps, online games, video chats, and more. So, let me kick off by explaining what we teach children as part of Be Internet Sharp so that you can adapt some of our ideas to suit your own family and children. And please don't hesitate to pop any of your strategies or top tips in the chat box. I'll pause a bit later on and I'll share those with everybody. Now, when we're teaching children to be internet sharp, the first thing we encourage them to think about is what they share and who they share it with. Now, this might sound really obvious, but in a world where children are used to sharing everything and seeing their favourite celebrities share loads of information online, it's important that they have these questions in mind whenever they go online. We want children to know that some stuff should be kept to themselves because it's personal. For example, their passwords. Now, it is surprisingly common for children to tell each other their passwords as a way of showing that they're really good friends. So we need to teach them that it's really important that they keep their passwords private. Of course, you might decide that you need to know some of your child's passwords too, and that's obviously a decision for you to make as a family. What we need children to know is that they shouldn't pass personal information like this onto anybody else, even their friends. And we want them to understand that some things might be okay to share with certain people, but not others. To help them make savvier decisions about sharing, we introduce them to the idea of sharing groups. Now, these are different groups of people that you can share different things with. We give them 4 to think about. So we have private, just your family, friends and family, and everybody else. You've probably already talked to your child about who to share things with already. Now, the grouping approach is just another way to help them really think about not just what they're sharing, but who with. So first up, we have private. Now, not a group at all, because this is the stuff that shouldn't be shared with anybody. So things like passwords, but also anything that identifies them, like their home address or their date of birth. Next, we cover family. So this is things that might be okay to share with any family members. Now, this could be a video of Dad doing a really silly dance, as long as Dad is happy for that video to be shared, or pictures of you in your school uniform. Now, after that, we think about the family and friends group. Now, for this group of people, we explain that they should only share things that are suitable for a bigger group, and this includes friends that they know offline. Now, this could be something like their birthday or maybe what they got up to at the weekend. Finally, there's everyone, and this is where they can share anything that isn't private at all and can be shared everywhere. Now, this could be a cute cat picture or maybe a new cool song by their favourite singer or favourite band. However, we really want to remind them when they're doing Be Internet Legends, and this is something you can reinforce with them at home as well, is that sometimes strangers can see this stuff too. And once it's out there, it's out there. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later when we move on to digital footprints. So, how can we make all this easy and as fun as possible so that children can always remember to think before they share? And what can you do at home? Now, there's one super easy thing you can do to help introduce your child to the concept of sharing carefully. And that's watch the Legends Family Adventure, the animated series that we've created with Aardman, the people who created Shaun the Sheep. Now, there are 3 short, really cute films for families to watch together, and they introduce some really important concepts to children, but in a really fun and engaging way. Now, Callum's going to pop a link to the Legends Family Adventure in the chat box now. We've created activities that also support what they learn, and one of them is something that you might remember from your childhood, and this is the paper fortune teller. Now, hopefully, you're already an expert on how to make them, but if you've forgotten or they're new to you, it comes with plenty of instructions, and there are some really great how to videos on YouTube too. Now, like fortune tellers, this activity is all about helping children to make a decision, but this time it's deciding what to share with who. And once you've made one and played with it a few times, it's the sort of thing that's really good to have around the house, and maybe you could keep it near your child's tech. You could even encourage your child to customise it and carry it around with them. Now, if I was going to customise mine, it would be full of glitter. Now, it's really about whatever works for you and your children, and it's about turning savvy sharing into a habit. Of course, that's just one idea from Be Internet Legends that you might find helpful. If you do have any of your own, pop them in the chat box and I'll share them with everybody soon. Now, here are a couple of more reminders of what we talk children about, and we'd really encourage you to cover them at home too. We talk to children about accidental sharing. We remind them that sharing is more than just posting or not posting something. Things can be shared accidentally too. For example, every time they use a video, it's so important for them to check that there isn't anything that will give away personal details, like maybe wearing a school jumper or t-shirt with the school's logo on. It could be leaving something in the background of the video that identifies where they live or their address, or accidentally saying something private. Now, especially if they're in a video chat or a live stream and they can't take back that information. To help your child develop really sharp sharing habits like this, perhaps you can practice together by making a little bit of a checklist every time you do one of your family video chats. And you could even turn this into a bit of a quiz with your whole family. Now, of course, it doesn't matter if your child talks about school in a conversation with their gran, but it'll really get them used to thinking about the different kinds of sharing that they need to be aware of. Another idea is to pop a note on their device with all the things they should never share with anybody online. Whatever works to help them remember what's okay and what's not. Because, as we say in the Be Internet Legends Assembly, once something's out there, it's out there. And that leads me nicely on to digital footprints. Now, this is the word we use in Be Internet Sharp to describe everything that children leave behind when they've spent time online, or that's been posted about them by others. Now, this can include photos and videos, text, audio, social media posts, emails, game handles, and more. Of course, information travels really fast, and some of these things will stay on the internet for a very long time, which is why we want children to think carefully about what they share and what they keep private. Now, in our assembly, we encourage children to find a lost toy cat and remember two pieces of information about the cat that one of the presenters casually mentions at the start of the assembly. Now, it's a great opportunity to remind them how quickly information can travel and how long it can stick around for. Now, the children have never met the cat, but they already know personal information about him, like his name and his age. But of course, you don't have to go around hiding all your children's toys to have fun learning about digital footprints. One thing you could do together is Google one of your children's favourite characters and see how many different facts you can find out about them. Now, you might be surprised how much information you can find out there on the internet. Now, our Parent Hub also has a really fun guessing game that you can download and play together. Now you write the name of a character or a celebrity or an animal on a piece of paper and stick it to each other's heads. Now the idea is to see how quickly you can work out who or what is on your head. Now it's designed to show kids that just a little bit of information can give a lot away. Now Cal's going to pop a link to that in the chat box. Of course, if you play this game with your child, you'll probably find it can take you a few guesses to get the right answer. And you might even make some bad guesses based on the information that you get. And this is the same on the internet. So this simple game is a great opportunity to talk to your children about how people can form inaccurate impressions of them based on their digital footprint. You can also let them know that when they share something about one of their friends, it becomes part of their friend's digital footprint too, and can be used to form impressions of them. Now, if your child has had a Be Internet Legends assembly, they'll be familiar with the kind pillar. So they'll know how important it is to be super kind and super positive online, and how this affects their digital footprint too. Now there's one more thing that crops up a lot in Be Internet Legends, and that's reminding your children to talk to you if they're ever worried or unsure or confused about anything. It's the final pillar of the Be Internet Legends programme, and it's Be Internet Brave. When in doubt, discuss. Now, even if you have a bit of a chatterbox who talks to you all the time, it can be really hard to get children to talk to you about what they've been doing online or what happened online, because sometimes it means they've broken a rule, or maybe they've shared something they've been asked not to, and it can really put them off telling you. That's why you need to get them into the habit of talking to you about what they do online and having a chat with them about being internet brave if something happens, even if they've made a mistake. They need to know that you will always help them, even if they think what they've done might make you a little bit cross. I'm sure you do that already, but we hope Be Internet Legends will give you some extra resources to remind them. Because, as you know with children, you have to tell them something again and again and again until they remember and you're sure that they've understood. I hope you've enjoyed that, because I really enjoyed chatting to you this afternoon. Now, Google's Be Internet Legends parent page has loads more help on this subject area, and Callum's going to pop a link in the chat box now, along with a link to the Parent Zone website, where you'll find some more really useful resources and information. But that's not all. If you found this useful or interesting, why not come to another one? Now we're doing them all throughout term, and we've got digital drop-ins on subjects such as cyberbullying and protecting personal information. Now Callum's going to pop a link to the timetable in the chat box, and please feel free to share this timetable with your friends in case they'd like to join us for a future one of our digital drop-ins. Now before I go, I just wanted to remind you about the Legends Family Adventure. It's the perfect, entertaining but educational activity for you to do with your child. Now there are 3 episodes and they're under 3 minutes each, and followed with some activities that you can do together. Now episode 2 especially focuses on sharing carefully, but I'd really recommend watching all of them in order. And here's a sneak peek for you.
My bear's gone.
Mix uppercase and lowercase letters.
Whoa! Neat trick!
Once you've watched the films, we'd love for you to take part in the Legends Family Challenge. Now this is an opportunity to win some really exciting prizes for your child's school and test their internet safety knowledge so that you can check how much they've understood. Now check the chat box for a link. We've also got some really fun free activities that you can do as a family on our Parent Zone Parent Hub. Now there's something for every pillar of the Legends code, from kindometers to password poetry. And if you sign up to our newsletter, you'll be the first to hear of any new activities or any new exciting resources. And Callum's going to pop a link in the chat box now for our newsletter sign up. And finally, have you played Interland? It's a really, really fab online game filled with challenges based on the Legends code, and children absolutely love it and they're really good at it too. Now, I'd recommend you playing this game with your child because, again, it can open up some conversations about some of the things we've discussed today. And why not have a little bit of a competition in your household? See who can get the highest score. Perhaps the loser has to do the dishes. If you do challenge your family something like that though, watch out for Mindful Mountain. It is super tricky. I don't know how to do it, and if I was playing that level, I would definitely have the low score and have to do the dishes. So that's everything from me. Callum's going to pop a link in the chat box for a survey. Now this will take 30 seconds to fill in, and it'll just help us to know if this digital drop-in's been useful, if there's anything we can do to make it better, and if there's any other subjects you'd like us to cover. And don't hesitate to get in touch with us via Instagram or on email. All the details are on the screen now. We'd love to hear what you thought of the Legends family adventure. Maybe you want to share some tips on how to complete Mindful Mountain with me, or perhaps you want to share some of your child's password poetry that they create. We absolutely love hearing from children and parents and families. And if you do have a question, get in touch. There is no such thing as a bad question. Now, before I go, I'm just going to double check the chat box. Oh, fab. Thank you, Callum. Cal's popped loads of really useful links in there. So if you've not got time to look at them now, maybe copy and paste them and save them for later. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope to see you soon at another one of our digital drop-ins. And don't forget to share it with your friends. Bye!